Have you ever wanted to tell someone how you really feel, but the words stuck in your throat? Maybe you wanted to admit you were struggling, but instead you said, "I'm fine." Maybe you wanted to tell someone you loved them, but instead you stayed quiet. Maybe you wanted to share your art, your idea, your dream, but instead you kept it hidden. That tension, the desire to be seen colliding with the fear of exposure, is vulnerability. We long for closeness, but we fear rejection. We crave authenticity, but we fear judgment. We want to be known, but we fear being misunderstood. And so we wear masks. We present curated versions of ourselves, polished, safe, acceptable. We hide the messy, tender, uncertain parts, even though those are the very things that make us human. Why is vulnerability so hard? Let's explore some of the reasons. 1. Evolutionary roots. Thousands of years ago, being cast out of the tribe could mean death. Acceptance meant safety. Rejection meant danger. Vulnerability, showing weakness, mistakes, or difference, risked rejection. That ancient fear still lives in us, even though our survival no longer depends on fitting in. 2. Early wounds. Many of us learned as children that vulnerability was unsafe. Maybe we opened up and were mocked. Maybe we showed sadness and were told to toughen up. Maybe we made mistakes and were shamed. Over time, the lesson sank in: hide your feelings. Don't show weakness. Don't risk honesty. 3. Cultural messages. Our society glorifies strength, independence, perfection. We're told to hustle, to never let them see you sweat, to present constant confidence. Vulnerability doesn't fit that narrative. It looks like failure. So we suppress it. 4. Fear of rejection and abandonment. At the heart of it all, vulnerability is risky because it puts our deepest selves on the line. If we share and are rejected, it hurts far more than if we were rejected for a mask. So, we protect ourselves by hiding. But here's the paradox: the very thing we crave, connection, intimacy, belonging, only happens through vulnerability. Without it, relationships stay shallow. Without it, creativity stays hidden. Without it, life feels lonely, even when we're surrounded by people. In this video, we're going to explore why we fear vulnerability, the hidden costs of always hiding, how vulnerability can actually be a source of strength, and practical ways to open up safely, step by step. Because the truth is, vulnerability isn't weakness. Vulnerability is where real life begins. The costs of hiding. On the surface, hiding feels safe. Keeping walls up feels like protection. If nobody knows your struggles, they can't judge you. If nobody sees your true self, they can't reject you. If nobody hears your real thoughts, they can't laugh at you. But the truth is, hiding comes with heavy costs. It may protect you in the short term, but in the long run, it slowly suffocates your spirit. 1. Shallow relationships. When we hide, people only know the mask. They may like you, respect you, even admire you, but they don't truly know you. And that means their acceptance doesn't feel real. Think about it: if you've only shown someone your perfect side, how can you ever feel deeply loved? A part of you will always wonder, would they still care if they knew the real me? The result is loneliness in disguise. You can be surrounded by people, even loved by many, and still feel unseen. 2. Emotional exhaustion. Wearing a mask is exhausting. Pretending to be fine when you're hurting. Pretending to be confident when you're scared. Pretending to be strong when you're tired. It drains your energy because you're living a double life, the outside version and the hidden version. Over time, that gap becomes unbearable. 3. Missed opportunities. Hiding also keeps you small. When you're afraid to show your ideas, your creativity, your dreams, you never give them a chance to grow. The song unwritten. The story unshared. The business never started. The friendship that could have deepened. Every time you silence yourself, you close a door before it even opens. 4. Increased anxiety. Ironically, hiding doesn't reduce fear, it amplifies it. You become hyper alert, constantly scanning to make sure the mask is holding. Did I say too much? Did they notice I was nervous? What if they find out the truth? Instead of relaxing, you're always managing impressions. Vulnerability avoided becomes anxiety multiplied. 5. Identity confusion. The longer you hide, the harder it becomes to know who you really are. You start to confuse the mask with the self. Maybe you've pretended to be strong for so long that you've forgotten how to ask for help. Maybe you've pretended to be happy for so long that you've lost touch with your sadness. Maybe you've pretended to have it all together for so long that you don't know how to admit you're lost. Over time, the mask doesn't just protect you, it imprisons you. 6. Stories of hiding. Sarah, the high achiever. Sarah was always the strong one. She excelled at school, landed a great job, and became the person others relied on. But secretly, she struggled with anxiety. She never told anyone, fearing it would make her look weak. For years, she carried the weight alone. One day she broke down, realizing that by hiding, she had denied herself the support she desperately needed. David the performer. David loved making people laugh. He was the life of the party, always cracking jokes. But his humor was a shield. Deep down, he felt lonely and insecure. The more he entertained, the less anyone suspected his pain. Until one day, a close friend told him, "I feel like I don't really know you. I only know the mask." That truth hit him harder than any rejection. 7. The paradox of hiding. Hiding feels like protection, but it creates the very pain we're trying to avoid. We hide to avoid rejection, but end up feeling unloved. We hide to avoid judgment, but end up judging ourselves harshly. We hide to feel safe, but end up feeling anxious and alone. Hiding keeps you alive on the surface, but empty underneath. And the only way to break this cycle is through the very thing we fear: vulnerability. Shifting perspective on vulnerability. If hiding brings so much pain, why do so many of us still cling to it? Because vulnerability looks like weakness. It feels like exposure, risk, danger. But what if vulnerability is not weakness at all? What if it's strength in disguise? To break free from the fear of opening up, we need to completely reframe how we see vulnerability. 1. Vulnerability is honesty at its core. Vulnerability is simply honesty. It's showing up as you are, without pretending. Saying, "I'm nervous," before giving a presentation. Saying, "I miss you," instead of waiting for the other person to text first. Saying, "I don't know," instead of faking certainty. This isn't weakness, it's truth. And truth is powerful. It builds trust, both with yourself and with others. 2. Vulnerability is courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's action despite fear. Vulnerability is the same. Think about it, it doesn't take courage to wear a mask. It takes courage to remove it. It doesn't take courage to hide your struggles. It takes courage to admit them. Every act of vulnerability is an act of bravery. 3. Vulnerability creates connection. We admire people for their strengths, but we connect with them through their struggles. A leader who admits mistakes inspires more trust than one who pretends to be perfect. A friend who shares their heartbreak deepens the bond. An artist who exposes their raw feelings moves us more than one who stays polished. Vulnerability is the bridge between hearts. Without it, relationships remain polite but shallow. With it, they become real. 4. Vulnerability fuels growth. When you hide mistakes, you rob yourself of lessons. When you hide ideas, you rob yourself of feedback. When you hide dreams, you rob yourself of opportunities. Vulnerability says, "This is where I am. This is what I want. This is what I fear." And in that openness, growth becomes possible. 5. Stories of strength through vulnerability. Maria the leader. Maria managed a large team. She believed leaders had to appear flawless. But when she finally admitted to her team that she was overwhelmed and needed support, something unexpected happened. Instead of losing respect, her team rallied around her. They admired her honesty and felt safer to admit their own challenges. James the husband. James had always hidden his emotions, fearing that showing sadness would make him less manly. But when he finally opened up to his wife about his fears, their relationship deepened. His vulnerability didn't weaken the marriage, it made it stronger. Elena the writer. Elena wrote stories for years but kept them hidden. She feared rejection. One day, she shared a short piece online. To her surprise, people resonated deeply. The honesty in her words connected with strangers. That moment taught her that vulnerability and creativity isn't a liability, it's the very thing that makes art powerful. 6. Vulnerability is selective, not reckless. Being vulnerable doesn't mean spilling everything to everyone. It's not about oversharing or broadcasting your secrets. True vulnerability is intentional. It's choosing safe people and safe spaces. It's sharing in layers, not all at once. It's balancing openness with wisdom. The goal isn't to expose yourself recklessly, but to allow yourself to be seen gradually, authentically, by those who have earned your trust. 7. The paradox of vulnerability. Here's the paradox: the thing we fear most is the very thing we crave. We fear rejection, but crave acceptance. We fear judgment, but crave understanding. We fear exposure, but crave intimacy. And the bridge between fear and fulfillment is vulnerability. 8. Reframing the question. Instead of asking, "What if I get hurt by being vulnerable?" ask, "What if I never allow myself to be fully loved, fully known, fully alive?" Because the greater danger is not rejection. The greater danger is living unseen. Vulnerability isn't the enemy. It's the doorway. The doorway to real connection, to authentic growth, to genuine belonging. Practical tools. Understanding vulnerability is one thing. Practicing it is another. Most of us need guidance, small, practical steps that help us open up without overwhelming ourselves. Vulnerability is like a muscle: the more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Here are some tools you can begin using today. 1. Start small. Don't begin with your deepest secret or biggest fear. Begin with small acts of openness. Tell a friend you're nervous before a big meeting. Share a creative idea, even if it feels unfinished. Admit when you don't know something. Each small step builds confidence. Vulnerability is a skill that grows in layers. 2. Choose safe people. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Vulnerability is about openness, not recklessness. Ask yourself, does this person respond with empathy or judgment? Have they shown consistency and trustworthiness? Do I feel lighter or heavier after sharing with them? Surround yourself with people who hold space for you, not those who weaponize your honesty. 3. Practice honest language. Vulnerability often begins with words. Instead of saying "I'm fine" when you're not, try, "I've had a rough day. I could use some support right now. I'm excited but also nervous." Honest language invites connection. It gives others permission to be real too. 4. Share your work. If you're a creator, writer, artist, musician, practice vulnerability by sharing your work, even in small ways. Post a draft. Send a sketch to a friend. Play a song for someone you trust. Remember, art without vulnerability is decoration. Art with vulnerability is transformation. 5. Allow help. One of the hardest forms of vulnerability is receiving. Many of us are comfortable giving but uncomfortable accepting. Practice saying yes when someone offers help. Practice asking for what you need. Vulnerability grows when you allow others to show up for you. 6. Write it out. If speaking feels too risky at first, start by journaling. Write down what you're afraid to say. Name the feelings you hide. Putting words on paper is a safe way to practice honesty with yourself. 7. Reframe mistakes. Vulnerability often feels dangerous because mistakes feel unacceptable. Reframe them. Mistakes are not proof of failure, they are proof of effort. When you admit mistakes openly, you model courage for others and give yourself freedom to grow. 8. The vulnerability ladder. Create a personal ladder of small risks, from easiest to hardest. For example, share a personal story with a trusted friend. Speak honestly about your feelings in a small group. Publish a piece of writing online. Have a hard conversation with a loved one. Express a dream you've been hiding. Climb one rung at a time. Each step makes the next one easier. 9. Celebrate your courage. Every act of vulnerability deserves recognition. After you open up, even in a small way, pause to celebrate. Say to yourself, "That took courage. I'm proud I did it." This positive reinforcement strengthens the habit. 10. Redefine strength. Finally, redefine what it means to be strong. Strength is not pretending you don't hurt. Strength is being honest about your pain. Strength is not independence at all costs. Strength is allowing interdependence. Strength is not perfection. Strength is authenticity. Final story: Daniel the engineer. Daniel worked in a competitive environment. Everyone projected confidence, and he felt pressure to do the same. For years, he hid his struggles. But one day, after missing a deadline, he admitted to his team that he was overwhelmed and needed support. To his surprise, his honesty didn't weaken their respect, it deepened it. Others admitted they were struggling too, and together they created a healthier, more supportive culture. Daniel's vulnerability sparked collective strength. Vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is courage. It's honesty. It's connection. It's growth. We've explored why we fear it: evolutionary roots, early wounds, cultural messages, Fear of rejection. We've seen the costs of hiding: shallow relationships, exhaustion, missed opportunities, anxiety, confusion. We've reframed it as strength, honesty, courage, connection, growth. And we've learned tools: start small, choose safe people, practice honest language, share your work, allow help, journal, reframe mistakes, build a ladder, celebrate courage. Here's the truth: the life you long for, deep love, meaningful connection, authentic expression, lives on the other side of vulnerability. When you hide, you survive. But when you open up, you live. So this week, practice one small act of vulnerability. Send the message. Share the idea. Ask for help. Admit the truth. Because you are not weak for being vulnerable. You are brave. If this spoke to you, share one word in the comments: courage. And in the next video, we'll explore the fear of failure, how to redefine it and move forward boldly.